Hello everyone, welcome back to YTC. So in today's video, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 and S Pen. Together, they bring a new level of productivity and creativity as well as convenience. Today we're diving into how this powerful duo can transform the way you take notes, multitask, and create more. So let's get into it, guys. The first feature that you could use the S Pen on involves where we are right now in the lock screen. You simply press the button of the S Pen and tap once on the always on display. Then you will be greeted with a blank screen and an ability to change colors, erase, and save it to your notes. In addition, you could pin into your always on display, such as a to-do list. And then you just click this pin icon. You'll have the information you want at a glance for the day right at the lock screen. You can go ahead also to remove it by tapping that X or minimizing it. Now the next feature with the S Pen is if you hover it around and you come close to the screen, you will see an icon on the side here. Or you have your edge panel, whichever you prefer. In this case, I'll click this and you can see there's Smart Select. So with Smart Select, anything on the screen I can tap with the S Pen and it will classify that. So in this case, I could copy that text if I wanted. I could add it to note if I wanted. I could even share the text to any social media platform and even pin it and move it around when I want. So if I'm multitasking, I could simply come in here and I could copy the text. To remove this, you simply press the X. Other than that, you could also move over to taking screenshots, creating GIFs, and if you have images, for example, you could straight away resize it if you want, and you could simply copy it, share it as an image, and edit it too. So if I wanted to take this image and start drawing, that's pretty cool that you could select any part of the page and use the Smart Select tool in a neat way. In addition to that, the Smart Select tool can also notify images really quickly. So if I tap there, it straight away selects that. If I tap this one, I don't have to actively circle the right area. It's smart enough to select it for you. It's very good at selecting text, but if you want the photo, you just adjust the cropping. It's really cool. And you see, if I wanted to copy that or pin it, I can move it around, resize it if I wanted to, and continue working. For example, if I'm making a note here, I can write and move this around. So the next cool feature in the Notes app that comes about is if you have any handwritten notes and they're pretty rough and you want to organize them, you can select the AI toggle and click Auto Format. Once you do so, you can either put it in headers or bullets or meeting notes. So if I click meeting notes, it would automatically notify the handwritten notes, and you can say generate text layouts. Once you do so, it takes some time to optimize it, and you can see that it's auto formatted the notes I made. In addition to that, you could swipe left or right and pick different options or styles that you prefer. So in this case, I like this. And what I can do then is simply copy the text and paste it anywhere I'd like on my phone. Or I simply add it to my notes, and you can say at the new note or at the end of the notes. It's pretty much organized considerably faster than it would take for me to type this out. So another cool feature is, let's say you're on a web page and there's an article that's quite long and you have limited time and you want to summarize what's on the page. You can use the Smart Assist toggle built into the Samsung native browser and click Summarize or Translate. Or Summarize would essentially use AI to analyze the web page and give you a summary of the entire web page. So there are options also. You could translate the summary, copy it, and you could also change the style. So in this case, it's set to detail, but if I click standard, it should shorten it slightly. So essentially this I can copy and paste somewhere. If you hold the button, you can straight away start highlighting text that you want. And then you could copy it and paste it somewhere. It's easier than to hold and pull. It prevents that delayed action, and just instantly allows you to start highlighting text. Now let's say you want to copy this text to your notes. Just copy it. Go to your notes or any app you want to copy text. Swipe from the left and you can see in your Edge panel in the Clipboard section, you can easily just drag and drop and copy the text here. So you can show the web preview even if you want. And what that does is essentially where I've copied the text from the web, I can also have access to that web page too straight away. It's a really neat feature, and it really speeds up the ability to track what you've been researching and summarize it too. Now you could also use AI and the S Pen to compose certain emails. For example, if I go into the email section and instead of pretty much writing here and a long email, I could essentially select this AI button that Samsung provides in the keyboard. I can create a composer that will use Gemini to generate me an email. You can click composer and you can simply give an idea of what you want to write about and in a basic format. So for example, you can just write sick for 9 a.m. lecture, will miss it. And then you can change the style, whether you want just a standard paragraph or an email, social media, or a comment. Now I'll just stick to email, and you can also change the style of the writing from professional all the way to polite and casual. So we'll stick to professional. Now as it composes, you'll see that it gives a general email for you to input what you need. And then you can copy this or just simply insert it into the email. And it even goes ahead to give you the subject, and you can see it's formatted really well. You can even write in Gmail just like that straight away. Now the next step for the S Pen is using Google Gemini. And for example, let's take a scenario where you're on your web browser and you're viewing an article. Now you don't want to spend so much time reading this article. So when we swipe from the left or right corner to the center, we can then ask about this screen, and when we press this, it captures the screen and we can literally tell it to simplify. In doing so, you send the command. Once the command is sent, Gemini will analyze the page and give you an answer to your query. Then we can go ahead to simply copy it. We can also share it across all platforms, and we can export it to docs, use it to draft an email, make a public link, and much more. Alternatively, when you ask, you can simply tap there and say simplify. And it does the same thing in the end, and really makes it a lot easier for various modes of input, if you prefer writing, if you prefer speaking. Now the next thing involves setting up a routine so that when you move, for example, into flex mode, it will automatically set up the Notes app or any app or action you require. But I'll give you an example with the Notes app so that you can use the S Pen to type. If you go to the modes and routines, you first come here to, if you have modes here, you can come to routines. So to create the routine, you just press the plus icon and then you say what you want to trigger. For example, if a condition happens, then you want so and so to happen. So to give you that perspective, if, for example, we get into flex mode, I can scroll down and look for that setting, which is over here as folding status. So when it's partially folded, I say done. Then what I want to happen. So I can click and come all the way down. I can either scroll or I can select from here a bunch of options. Now I want to open up an app pair. So sometimes I like to watch a YouTube video and then make my notes. So I'll give you an example of that. If I, let's say, put in here a Notes app, I could search for it also. I want the Notes app, and the second one, the YouTube. Okay, so once I click that, these two apps will open. I say save. All right, so now when I get into flex mode, I will have those two apps open up. Now ideally I don't want it like this. I want to flip it vertically like that, but then flip them around like that. So now let's say I want to write notes on this video of cats and dogs. And you could also just essentially change it to typing. Like start typing here, like that. So when you're in this mode, you could obviously type like this, but you could also remove this and change it to, you could change it to handwriting. So now whatever I type will just come out like that. So that action really helps to play around and multitask to make some notes, and you can make that pair with any app and play around with it with how you like. Now the next feature is to drag an object from a video into your notes. For example, in my gallery app, I have a video playing over here. To copy this chocolate bowl, for example, into my notes section, I can simply swipe on the left edge panel, open my notes section here, and then once the video and the notes are side by side, I make sure to pause the video, tap and hold with the S Pen, and I can simply copy that there, and then resize it how I want and start making my notes on this. And further to that, you can also edit the video that's playing and add live text to it. So once I'm in my gallery, I can simply say the edit button. I can go to this generative section over here and say live. Now when it's live, I can change the type of pen I want and the colors itself. Say done and play. So you can see what I write comes live. Now the next cool video feature with the S Pen is the ability to write notes while watching a video. You simply press and hold the button on the S Pen and tap twice on the screen to launch the notes. Then you can resize the Notes app to how you want the size and pin it to the top. Once you do so, you can start writing notes how you want. And as I skipped to this video, now I want to make notes, but I want to sort of see the person. So I can also adjust the opacity and continue writing notes. And the third feature is actually to do with the screen recording while you're making notes. So if I wanted to essentially comment or have my face shown, I can start recording, and this will record, and as I annotate, the screen recording continues, and I feel that it's too hidden, and you can see it looks nice. And you see, as this guy is, for example, making this silver pendant, I want to comment of it, so I can add my face here, or in this case my hand, and in doing so I can show myself visible and give my analysis on this, all while screen recording. And then when I'm done, I press the stop button, it saves the recording, and it goes in my gallery. So you can multitask with the S Pen, making some notes, watching some video, and simply showcase yourself and comments. So it really goes handy when you're, for example, making a tutorial or a presentation. Now the next thing involves dragging and dropping an image or text to your Notes app or any other app in a multitasking format sort of way. So let's say you have a Notes app open and you want to drag a certain image and you want only a specific section of the image. So I can simply tap and hold the bottom to initiate the taskbar, and I can pull and drag internet browser there. Now I have this image of a car and I don't want the labeling, so I can simply tap and hold. Once I do that, I say clip subject from background. It will analyze and put this in place. You can share it directly, save it as a sticker which will go in your gallery. You can copy it and even save it as an image or edit it. But what I'll do is I simply hold it and drag and drop it here, and then that would allow me to stick it to any angle and then annotate what I want on. If I go to my other tabs here and I have a web page here that I'm interested in, I can simply tap and press the button and instantly copy some text. And I can copy and paste it, or I can just drag it and drop it this way. And you can see straight away the text is there. I can come here and I can edit it how I feel like. The next thing you can do with the S Pen is adding a certain text for a web page to a note, and also changing that note into a link that can refer to that web page instantly and what you highlight. So to put that into perspective, if I have this article over here and I'm scrolling on this web page and I like something about the history of the EVs. So what I can do first is simply tap and hold the S Pen and instantly highlight what I want to, including everything, and then right there I can say add to notes, and notes will pop up with the document populating what I highlighted. And then you can also see that you can type more onto it, and at the top is actually a link to it, but I'll get to that in a second. But remember, you can make this full screen if you want, and further full screen to make it more immersive. You can even then end up highlighting what you want to work on, annotating on certain things, and then right after that, when you press the link, it goes back to the page and it actually keeps the highlighted text for you. And this really helps when sharing to people certain things, and that's because you can also convert this into a PDF from the Notes app. You can see I can come here and share and then export into a PDF file and so on and so forth. That becomes really useful when making documents quickly on the go and sharing with people. And if you really don't want the link, for example, just make sure you remove the writing part of it, tap onto it and hold, and then just press the minus button, or you can delete it. So the next thing with Circle to Search is you can have any canvas, in this case the Notes canvas, or you can have text on the page anywhere, such as a web page. So if I put a simple math equation here, I can simply tap and hold the center to bring up Circle to Search. I can circle that, and then Circle to Search will solve the problem, showing me all the steps. All right, so you can see how Circle to Search can be quite effective in determining and helping you understand and solve math problems on the go. Now the next feature is Sketch to Image. So you can do this on any page that you're on at an instant. I just copy this image onto my Notes page, but essentially what you do is you simply either swipe from your Edge panel and look for this icon for Sketch to Image, or you can press this and use Sketch to Image. So once that's here, you can essentially draw anything blank straight away, but I want to copy that car and draw something artistic with it. So if I click here, I can change the opacity to quite low, and then I can start tracing over this car like so. And once we're ready, we can select the style of options we want. I'll go with 3D cartoon and I say generate. Now AI is going to work its magic, and we should have a few options based on the style we created. So you can see straight away I have a car that I want, and I can essentially share this. I can save it to my gallery. If I click this, I can redraw it. I can share it to any contact I want, and I can bring back the opacity, and I can minimize it. So when I'm in Sketch to Image, I can now move around with it and continue my other work. So you don't necessarily have to exit Sketch to Image. You can minimize it like that, continue your work, and then get back to it when you want. Now the next cool feature in the Notes app is you could essentially end up making a rough sketch with your pen and then come back later using Samsung's AI capabilities to bring that sketch to life. For example, I'll draw a simple sketch of a light bulb, and I will bring Sketch to Image. Now let me make it a pop art for fun, and once I generate, let's see what AI thinks that drawing was like. You can see it got it right off the bat straight away. Now I can essentially pick, for example, I want this one, I add it to note, and now I can replace my actual sketch with something with a bit more flair, and then I can continue making my notes as I go down. So this really helps to bring life to the work that you're doing, and the Notes app with the S Pen is the ultimate match made in heaven, because all these documents that you save here can essentially be used as PDFs and Word files and PowerPoints and so on and so forth. So what you can do to take your artistic level of this phone and the pen up a notch, you can click this palette icon here in the Notes widget, and you can see there's a bit of a canvas here with a lot more detailed brushes and color options and so on and so forth. But what I'd like to do is simply turn this into a canvas for drawing with layers. To do that, you can see if I press this arrow icon here, it says nothing to post. I just have to start scribbling a bit. Once I press it again, it will open this sort of canvas for me, which I can, if you see, it's hard to tell, but I can rotate it. To help you understand that better, I can click this layer and I can put a color to it, okay? So you can see this canvas. I can move it around and I can add multiple layers if I want. Select this type of brush and create these different layers, and you can change the opacity level, size of the brush, and so on and so forth. Now you can basically spice it up how you want. You can select it, you can even make it full screen like this to make it more immersive. You can save it as an image, you can post it, make a new canvas. Now my new canvas, I can select from these preset drawings. Let us take the traditional landscape and start drawing. And you can also, with each layer, merge them down, flip it horizontally. Now another cool feature with the S Pen is the generative AI feature in the gallery app. So let's say we have a photo like this and we want to add something to spice it up, make it more alive. You can clearly see this is a footballer and probably there should be a ball somewhere here. So why not let's add that to it. So we can click this button here again. Once it pops up, we say sketch to image. In doing so, we then are greeted with this. I'll just change the color for visual purposes. Just draw a circle. Let us see how that works out. And yeah, we get a somewhat of a ball. So you can save it and that becomes a final copy versus that. You see, it adds some more life to the image. How I got this image is I edited this stock image by deleting that section. To do that, you follow the same process. Edit. You can simply, without sketch to image, circle the section you want to remove. Then you can tap to hold. You can even move it. Let's say I want it here. I can regenerate it or I can delete it. So once I delete it, I generate it, and with the fine precision of the pen, I'm able to move it where I want. You could use your fingers if you'd like, but this just makes it easier, and you can see if I view the original and without, with, without. Next, the S Pen has some hover features that can be useful. For example, those interested in the finance world with this big screen to take advantage of graphs. Now you can see we have various bear and bull candles. So each candle represents information, and you can just hover the S Pen on any candle and it makes it a lot easier to get the information you want, as opposed to getting your finger, which has a lot more surface area, to pinpoint the exact candle you want to refer to. So this makes it a lot easier when engaging with graphs. Next, we have PDFs and how we can edit and maneuver PDFs with and without the S Pen. So if we go into the Notes app, open the PDF version here. Let's go to data sheets, for example. And we can pick something like this. In doing so, we have a few pages. You can see I can annotate on this, draw things. So you see, when it's in this mode, if I use the pen, it will write. If I wanted to scroll, I can simply press the reading mode so that I can scroll with the pen itself and make it full screen if I so wish. If I want, I could press here, I can say PDF, I can add more PDFs to it. I can also add scans by coming here, pressing scan, taking a photo, adding more PDF pages to it. Once I have this document and I've, let's say, highlighted some text even, like so. Let's say I add another PDF to it. I write data sheets again, and I select another one. It's added further. You can see I can also create a tag if I want, and just write. In doing so, I say save. Now in my Notes app, I can just type data sheets if I want. For example, here, see, tags data sheets, and I can find it quickly. And you can also use it to annotate, like to draw drawings. Like if you want to draw a box around this, it does that. If I want to write something here to indicate something on this paragraph, you can essentially see you can annotate over your drawings, and then you can go ahead to save it as any file you want, including a Word, PowerPoint, PDF, and a Notes file. You can even go ahead to edit the cover, going to this and picking from a bunch that you want, and let's say you want that color, and you can even put a sticker or something on it, and essentially that gives you a cover like that. Now another thing with the S Pen is, as you're making notes, you have to make sure you toggle these settings on. Firstly, smart guidelines, align letters, and fix the shape of letters. So for example, if I write something and my handwriting is skewed, it will essentially bring it down. It will align my writing to something neater, and it does it character by character. So it even works with some math equations by bringing it down, and essentially makes your effort for input a lot simpler, so you can focus on the task rather than the formatting. And it's a splendid feature to have hand in hand with the S Pen. So there you have it, guys. The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 and S Pen are here to make life easier, more organized, and a lot more creative. Unlock the full potential of your Fold with the S Pen today. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification for more content and tech tips. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.